Hey there, it's me again. It's Friday night and I am tired from a very long day. So I got up at about 6:30 this morning and got ready to go to Hollywood Studios to try and get a boarding group to do Rise of the Resistance, which is the new attraction at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So I had a bit of a mishap this morning. Imagine that. I didn't get ready fast enough. I got down to the bus about 7 and found a Hollywood Studios bus packed to the gills with people pulling away, and then people in line, quite a long line to get on the next bus. What I realized is our bus stop here at Grand Destino Tower is the last bus stop before the bus leaves for the park, and the buses were arriving full of people. They could cram a few more people on. So I was faced with the prospect of waiting for the next bus, which I may or may not have gotten on, or I had to find alternative transport. So I decided to take a Lyft, and I thought about taking the Lyft direct to Hollywood Studios, but I thought, well, if there's this long of a line to get on the bus, there might be a very long line of cars to get into the park, which it can get really long lines to get through the gates there, to get into the parking lot. And I thought, is there any other way? And I took a Lyft to Riviera Resort, which is on the Skyliner line, and I could take a Skyliner ride over to Hollywood Studios. So I don't know. I had not had my coffee yet. I wasn't really thinking clearly, but I thought that's a good plan. So I Ubered to Riviera, which is really close to Coronado Springs. It's less than 10 minutes in the car. I got there, I get out to the Skyliner, and here there's a sign that the Skyliner doesn't open until 7:30. And I was like, oh no. And I'm in line, so I figure, well, at this point I'm in for this, so I'm just going to stand here. So it was about 12 or 14 more minutes until the Skyliner opened, and then we actually didn't get on until about 7:35. It's a very quick ride, though, over to Hollywood Studios. So I got there and I got into the park quickly because I did not have a bag. I went bagless today. I just had like a clear lanyard case for a cell phone around my neck. And I had like my ID and credit card and stuff in there, and I had my phone in my hand. So I went right through and I got into the park with 10 minutes to spare. So despite kind of really messing up the transportation thing this morning, I was able to get into the park with 10 minutes to spare. Now, on the Skyliner over here, there was intense conversation between the people I had befriended in the line there about getting a boarding group, and advice they had received to not have the app open when the clock strikes 8 a.m. or whatever time the park opens that day, to then when the minute hits to open the app and then try and get the boarding group. Well, I was like, my app takes many minutes to load sometimes. Like there's fireworks and it's just really sluggish. So I thought, well, I'm going to risk it and try it with my app open. So I did that. It's, I must say, nerve-wracking. You made this trip over there just to get this boarding group, and like the minutes are ticking down. You're just like, I'm sweating. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just kidding. I wasn't really sweating, but like you could tell people were really invested, like nervous about this not working, how it's supposed to. But I will say, the clock turned 8 o'clock. I waited a few seconds. I tapped the Rise of the Resistance thing that's right there in the app where it says all about boarding groups, learn more. And then about 2 seconds later, it came up, get a boarding group. So I tapped it, I tapped me, and I got a boarding group. So I got group number 40, which they guarantee that everyone they didn't guarantee, but they say, if you have 66 or higher, you may not be able to ride. They don't promise they'll get to that group, and that boarding groups aren't a guarantee to ride because the ride can go down. More on that later. So I was like, this is great. I have a boarding group. So I left the park because I was going to brunch at Riviera Resort, but I wanted to go with my family who was back here at Coronado Springs. So I bussed back to Coronado, met up with them, hung out for a bit. Then we took Lyft again over to Riviera. Well, this is all not ideal, but even people who know a lot about Disney make mistakes with the transportation. I want to add something that I forgot to mention last night was like how much I paid for this room at Grand Destino Tower. I meant to say that. I believe my total for the 3 nights that we're staying here was $650. Now that was with a Disney discount and with the Orbitz promo code stacked on top. So it's $215 a night about, which that includes tax, which is a really great rate for staying here. And honestly, it's money well spent, in my opinion. I really like Grand Destino Tower. I like the convenience of it. I don't like the bus situation at Coronado Springs at all. I don't know. I'm going to really think on advice for people staying here as I take the bus again. We're taking the bus again tomorrow. I'll see what I can come up with and maybe even talk to cast members here about what to do. Like if you want to go to Hollywood Studios in the morning and every bus that keeps coming is full, because you're at the last bus stop. What do you do about that? So hopefully I'll come back with some good ideas for you. So anyway, I got my boarding group. We went and had brunch at Topolina's Terrace, which is a character meal. It's on the top floor of the new Riviera Resort, which is all a DVC resort that opened in December. And I really knew nothing about the meal. I just wanted to do it because it's a new character meal. And we went with my 7-year-old daughter and my 2-year-old niece. And we had a wonderful time. The characters were really great. It was Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and Donald. And it was weird. I've never had this happen before where we got to eat our food and we met Daisy before we got our food, and then we actually got to eat our food without interruption, and then we met the other characters at the end. It was really nice actually, because my big complaint is usually as soon as my hot food gets put down in front of me, the characters will start coming, and I'm like, great, I really just want to eat my food because I like hot food hot. It's a thing. So it was great. The food was great. It's expensive, as are all character meals. However, when you go with a 2-year-old, what's great about it is that they can order anything they want you can order for them anything off of the kids menu, and it's free. There's no charge for kids under 3 at buffets or all you care to enjoy meals. And so this was one where you order off the menu and they bring it to you, but it's a set price. So my daughter ordered off the kids menu, and then my sister and I ordered obviously off the adult member menu. But with the 2 adults and 1 child, and then I had a pass holder discount of 10% off, it was $100. And to me, for a character meal for 4 people, for $100 seems like a bargain nowadays. So I recommend it. I thought it was great. The character interaction was great. The restaurant is gorgeous. The food was great. So highly recommended. Anyway, and then the excitement with the boarding group started. So my boarding group got called at the very end of our meal. When your boarding group gets called, well, that just means you have 2 hours to get back and tap in with your Magic Band to wait in line, basically, to do the attraction. So I took my time, went back to Hollywood Studios on the Skyliner. I went to Galaxy's Edge. I went to check in, and they said the ride is down and come back later. And I was like, wait, what? And they said, in the app, you'll see that boarding groups up through 47 have been called. Keep checking the app, and when you see that they've called a new boarding group, so when they have called 48, you'll know that it's okay to come back, and that means the ride is up and running again. And I was like, okay, so I just have to sit here and tap my app. They say, go do something else in the park. Well, the park was mobbed. There were so many people there. So I did a lap around the park, and I still hadn't seen any progress in the app. So I decided to go to the Baseline Tap House, which I hadn't been to before, and have a drink. They have a lot of interesting beer. It's all from California, I believe, and wine and 2 cocktails on the menu. So I just had myself a glass of wine while I waited. And sure enough, as soon as I got my glass of wine, I checked again, and they had started calling the boarding groups again. So I thought, I hope I can drink this wine while I wait. In the queue, it turns out you can. So I went and checked in, and I started the process of waiting to ride this attraction. So you walk through a very long queue, and it was the typical Disney shuffle along, but the queue did keep moving continuously. It starts outside, and then you go inside. And after about 20 minutes of shuffling through the queue, there was an announcement that the ride went down again. So everyone basically sat down in the queue and propped themselves up, and like people started sleeping, and everyone was just kind of checking their phones and like sleeping. It took about 25 minutes until cast members started coming through with supplies for us. They brought chips and chilled bananas and were giving them out to people waiting in the line. Never have I had this happen before. But I took the free banana from Disney because they have enough of my money, and it was actually the best banana I've ever had. So about 5 minutes, maybe 10 after that, the line started moving again. And I did get to experience the attraction, and it was great. I don't even know how to explain it, and I don't want to because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I just, my impressions were that, like, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. It's a next generation attraction. It is immersive storytelling. It's full of surprises. It's delightful. And I would not ever do that again to ride it because it like took the whole day, basically. I had to dedicate this whole day to doing this attraction because I didn't know if I would get a boarding group. I didn't know what time it would be called back. I just had to basically be on hold all day to do this one attraction. And for like people coming down on vacation, that is just not practical to just set this whole day aside. I mean, yeah, you can do other things, but people, when they got stuck in the line, we were in there and they're like, I have a fast pass in 30 minutes for Slinky Dog. What do I do? I mean, yeah, it really can cramp your style if you don't know what's going to happen with this attraction, when you're going to ride it, if you're going to ride whatever. So, at some point, they're going to implement FastPass with this attraction. You can see the FastPass queue is in place. Like, they're going to implement FastPass. Like, honestly, unless you cannot live without riding it, wait until FastPass is out, and you'll have like a set return time where you can go ride it, because this boarding group thing, I mean, maybe for other people it went seamlessly and they were able to do whatever they wanted, but like it took the whole day. I mean, I got back at like 2 or 2:30 from this adventure, but that was my impression. But it's wonderful. I mean, it's an amazing attraction. Anyway, we just hung out at the resort for the rest of the day and had dinner at the Three Bridges, which is like kind of a quick service lounge table service place here at Coronado Springs. And it was good. I thought it was pretty overpriced. I wouldn't really recommend it necessarily. The food was great quality, but it was just not that great for the money, I thought. And I'm all about that. So tomorrow I will report back to you with lots of more fun. So thanks for listening.